And welcome to Movies, the podcast. We're going to be doing something a little bit different today. This is Jordan.
This is Brenda.
This is Rob. Last but not least, this is Curtis.
Well, actually, Dan's last but not least.
Dan, why do we always have to include
He's
Dan?
the last and least, but we love him.
This is Dan.
Last Dan, ladies.
So we are mixing it up a little bit. You'll notice that we didn't open the podcast with a clip this time because we don't know what we're going to be talking about, and you might think that's what we do every time. But
no, we don't.
This time it's on purpose.
This time it is on purpose. So what we've done is we've gone out to social media and we asked our listeners to suggest topics that they want to hear about, and we thought it would be fun to do a lightning round podcast. This is the first annual 7 Minutes in Heaven with Movies, the podcast. What we're going to do is talk about 6 topics, and we don't know what they are. We have a pile of listener-submitted topics on the table in front of us. We will pull a topic, start the timer, and talk about it for 7 minutes. When Dan calls time, we pull another topic. We'll do that 6 times. This could be awesome. This could also be a total fucking mess.
Everybody has your
your personal life?
Just like my personal life.
So everybody has their poppers. We've already done your poppers.
Everyone did. We got some blow. That was
did a bump in the bathroom.
We've all done our bumps. We've done our lines. They're all pre-cut, so it doesn't
People
get on.
must think we're really exciting. We've done Diet Coke and vegan cookies.
What's in those vegan cookies? Okay, so I have our pile. I'm going to pull a topic, and Dan is going to start the timer. And guys, this is all every man for himself, all hands on deck.
But remember, we can't talk over each other.
If we have dead air, just talk about Almodovar for a little bit. We're really good at it. So, and we're going to pull the topic. Dan,
Here we go.
let's go.
What is it?
Our first topic is documentaries. Ooh. This is a really good opening one. I
Yeah.
just saw some amazing documentary series on Netflix while I was sick. I watched a 9-hour British documentary series on Auschwitz, but it was the most interesting thing I'd ever seen. And it's so well done. It's called Auschwitz
Behind the music?
Behind the music. Auschwitz Behind the Curtain. No, it's an amazing BBC documentary series, and I highly recommend it for anyone who's a World War II buff, because it really looked at the concentration camp system from a business point of view, which I thought at first was kind of grotesque, but it's a really interesting way to look at how people separated themselves from the emotion of what they were doing and looked at it just from a business point of view. And I thought it was very interesting in light of current topics about Monsanto and BP and how companies make immoral decisions without any humans make immoral decisions by making them in the company's name.
Scary. It's so scary.
It's really interesting.
A doc that I would highly recommend. Actually, the other day I tried to start Children Underground. It wasn't right for me in that moment. So I'm going to resort to one of my tried and true favorite films. Is For the Bible Tells Me So. We've talked about it before. It's a wonderful document. I wouldn't say wonderful, but it's a great documentary about how these 4 different religious families have dealt with having a gay child in their life and how it conflicts with their personal beliefs. And the film does just an amazing job showing you that at the end of the day, someone in your life that you love, no matter what you believe in, is still someone you care about, and you hopefully have the right attitude to still love them. That's one that I recommend.
One of my favorite documentaries, I think I might have brought it up before in the music and movies episode, but it's called Dig. This filmmaker, she basically followed the rise and fall or whatever, these 2 bands called the Brian Jonestown Massacre and Dandy Warhols. She followed them both for 7 years.
I've seen that.
I thought it was amazing.
I just remembered it.
What's it called? At the end of it, you kind of see where they both are. At the beginning, they started off like bosom buddies, the both groups, and as the years pass, they end up, with the huge divide between them. And Dandy Warhols end up getting a little bit more notoriety, but to the other band, they sold out a little bit more. So it's about their relationship, also with the lead singers, because the lead singer of Brian Jonestown Massacre, I believe he has like some mental issues.
I remember.
So he kind of like self-sabotages the band a little.
What's it called?
Dig.
My ex had me watch it. It just dawned on me that I'd seen it. It's really interesting. It's not something I thought I'd be interested in. It was really good.
If you're not really into band documentaries would you be?
Yeah.
Is it interesting?
I think so. Yeah, it's still interesting.
It's a
'cause-
sociological kind of thing. Too.
Yeah, because I heard of the Dandy Warhols, but I wasn't a huge fan of either band. They even kind of indicate that Brian Jonestown Massacre is like the better band, but just because of their circumstances and things with the lead singer, they end up not getting as famous, if you will, as Dandy Warhols.
Okay, mine. I have two, but I'm gonna try and narrow it down to one.
No, we have time.
Okay, well, there's a crazy documentary called We Live in Public. It's about the start of living your life online. A man who runs an internet chat company. Dan, have you ever seen this movie? You would like this documentary. He brings everybody underground in New York City in the 90s to live in front of cameras. Obviously, this is way
before reality TV.
And things get a little crazy, and it just shows how people without rules of society take things too far. There's a terrifying scene where he's trying to have sex with his girlfriend, and she's saying no, and he grabs her. It's the most horrifying moment. Like he's gonna.
This is a documentary,
yes,
not a film.
because it's all filmed. Because they were filming a documentary. He grabs her like he's gonna hurt her, and then something in him clicks, and he doesn't. But it kind of just shows like being watched all the time and what that does to you. The other one that I love is kind of a fun one. It's called No Impact Man. I'm such a nerd about that kind of stuff. He lives for a year with making no environmental impact unless he must, but that means like no travel, nothing. It's an incredible documentary, and it's also just I liked the way he lived. And
I hate that countdown.
His wife. Oh, that's cool. Now I don't have to talk so fast. But now we're staring at your crotch. His wife's diabetes. Stop! No. His wife had a.
I'm telling HR. We're being sexually harassed.
Brenda. But I have two more that I want to recommend.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't know if you guys ever saw, because you reminded me when you were talking about the one about people living underground New York, the documentary called Dark Days.
Oh,
I've never seen it.
It's amazing.
It's really? A pretty phenomenal film. It's a documentary about this documentarian lives with these people underground in New York in the abandoned railroad stations.
Oh, wow.
And they've built an entire city down there, or not like a town, and they have running water, they have electricity, and it's just, to them, that's their world. They're all homeless, but whenever you see them moving out and being moved into government housing, it's just so heartbreaking, because even though now they have somewhere to live, they've lost all their friends.
Yeah, they're no longer part of a community.
Just real quick, I just want to say my 10 seconds per episode.
Use it wisely.
You've used it.
No, in all seriousness, I might have mentioned this before, but I showed it again this weekend, and I got the same reaction. I loved this reaction. Ancient Aliens Debunked. It's free. It's online. It's a 3-hour documentary, and it systematically goes through every episode of that horrible show and debunks it. It's like finding out Santa Claus doesn't exist when you're 30.
I need to make Dane watch that because he loves Ancient Aliens.
Sounds amazing.
I showed another group of people this weekend, and they were furious with me. I mean, they were really upset.
Anybody have another one?
Oh, there was one that was going to mention last week when we talked about Hispanic Heritage Month. There's one called The Garden. Have you seen The Garden?
Yes, about the
Phenomenal
space in Los Angeles.
There's the space in Los Angeles that after the riots, the city gave away to the community. And the community was kind of a lower income Hispanic community, and they they were given garden plots, and they created gardens, food for their family, groceries. And then all of a sudden the government sold it.
Oh, wow.
To a big conglomerate company, and the families there, they fought it, but being low income and I don't know if this is inappropriate, so they're migrant workers, and they had one woman who was educated and helped defend them, and they were really looking towards her the whole time, and then
we're down to 10.
They were all looking at her to save them, and then towards the middle of the documentary they start to hate her because it was the best documentary, because it was really just about
I want to recommend Dear Zachary. Just look it up.
And you're done.
Curtis is going to draw our next topic.
Our next topic
We're resetting the clock.
Oh, Brenda's favorite TV movies.
Oh, back to Lifetime.
What's a good TV movie? Behind the Candelabra.
Behind the Candelabra was amazing.
I've yet to see it, but I've heard
You know what? I
it's
just got in the
fantastic.
mail today from Netflix. These Old Broads. It's a TV movie with Shirley MacLaine.
Oh, because you're reading the
yeah.
book.
Debbie
Elizabeth
Reynolds,
Taylor.
Elizabeth Taylor. It's like, I'm going to watch that next.
Oh, that is like gay fun.
I brought it here.
Are you
We're
going to sip white wine?
We're going to watch it right here out of a box.
Oh my gosh.
TV
you know what I watched
movies.
recently? I watched part of it, but I've seen the whole thing, is The Women of Brewster Place. Was just randomly
Ellen
on.
Barkin?
No, with Oprah Winfrey and Alfred Woodard, and it's an amazing miniseries about women growing not growing up, but women living and dealing with family life in the 60s in a poor neighborhood in New York. And and there are themes of, and this came out in the 80s, and it was themes of lesbianism and themes of women's empowerment and, rape and sexual violence. And so there was, it's a really powerful film, and it has a very iconic ending scene where they've, tear down a wall that's been built in the neighborhood to keep them out of the white, to separate them from the white neighborhood. And so that's something.
It's like the Warsaw Ghetto.
It has a lot of. Ghetto is definitely a term that gets thrown around a lot, but it's definitely a word that fits what happened with a lot of minorities. with not only sexual minorities, but also racial minorities got ghettoized in these areas because of where they could rent or where they could buy property. And so that term, it's definitely not the same experience that happened in Warsaw or in other cities, but a very similar concept.
I love Game Change.
I was going to bring up Recount.
I need to see that.
Sarah
And
Palin.
Recount's
is
really
good too. The only thing about Recount I'll say is you don't have a lot of sympathy for the Republican characters, but in this movie, they're mostly Republican. The way Julianne Moore plays Sarah Palin, I thought, okay, I get where she was coming from. She's in over her head. The power and the money got to her. Like Julianne Moore does not play her as this arch villain. She plays her as a woman.
She's very human. You feel almost kind of sorry.
Sarah
for
Palin
her.
should thank Julianne Moore for doing that movie because it
humanized her a little bit.
Yes, because she's not.
And also,
Apparently, she gave it a thumbs down.
She did. She was very critical of it. She was basically
she didn't
saying,
understand it.
I mean,
She thought it was Iron Lady. She was like, "What is this?
I'm not
I
dead.
don't care about Brit."
I'm not crazy. And Julianne Moore does a fantastic job.
Also, Too Big to Fail too was another HBO film that came out about the financial.
I think we're just
crisis.
going to talk about HBO films because
Well, HBO does such amazing.
I was going to bring up
stuff.
Temple Grandin.
Is that good?
It's really good.
so good.
Oh my goodness.
Do
it
the
is
machines
good.
hug the cows?
Yeah.
And then she gets
Have you
into
seen it?
two.
No.
Oh,
We're
you
watching
need to
that.
see it. It
It's
has a
just
lot
the
of heart.
voice.
Well, and I really love Temple Grandin, the real Temple Grandin. I've seen, she has an amazing TED Talk on Netflix right now. But she's just such an interesting, I love, and Claire Danes deserved the Emmy for that. She really did a great job. But HBO does such amazing movies.
Yeah,
and
you can't put
because they
on-
have budgets, they have freedom, they have the constraints that you don't have on network television. And are they still making TV movies?
Yeah,
on network television?
Yeah.
Oh, on
summer
network
movie.
on network television? Oh,
Like
I don't know.
CBS and like they used to do
Well, this is
Saturday Night Movie.
Flight 92.
this is really dated, but I'm thinking more miniseries. Like I love the Jackson 5 one or the Jacksons, and then
Where Angela Bassett was the mom.
yes, and then
Yeah.
the Temptations.
The Stand was a
The Stand is a
The Stand.
phenomenal.
I was wondering if that was going to get brought up. Yeah, that was really good. I mean, for
Yeah, I
its
can't
time.
think of any.
That was
other
kind of during
Stephen
the
King.
heyday of TV film.
Because they actually
The
remade.
Langoliers was a TV movie.
They
too.
did that.
Tommyknockers.
They actually remade.
It.
Wings did. The guy from Wings redid the. What did we just?
The
watch?
Shining.
The Shining.
Yeah.
That
That's a
was
TV movie.
horrendous.
Steven Weber.
As a kid, I liked the Shining remake because I thought the Wendy character actually stood up and did something, but I like the pussy Wendy better. The one who
Well,
goes, "Get away from me."
HBO actually has a series that just started last week that every Monday they're going to have a different documentary. And last week they started with the Pussy Riots.
I need to see that.
And it's sitting on our DVR right now.
Oh, they did a really great Gloria Steinem documentary when they have documentary like Fridays or something like that. It was really, really good, just talking about everything she went through and her choices and finally getting married, and then because she married Christian Bale's dad.
Yeah.
It was a really good one. But
Well, I highly recommend Temple Grandin and Recount. Like Recount, touching on what he talked about
I've
with
seen Recount so many times, and Laura Dern is so awesome.
that
she's
film.
like Queen Esther.
She's so good in it.
Laura Dern's good in everything.
You have Kevin Spacey. You have Laura Dern. You have
Who else is in it?
who? What's that actor's name? The
Dennis Leary's
Dennis
in it.
Leary.
Leary's in it.
Hilarious in that.
Tom
John
Wilkins.
Hurt is
Tom
in it.
Wilkinson's in it. John Hurt. And it's written both
Oh,
Game
and
Change,
Bob Balaban is in it.
both Game
Bob
Change
Balaban's
and Recount was written by Danny Strong.
Danny Strong, that's right.
There was a really quick documentary / movie on PBS It's called Boogeyman: The Lee Atwater Story. It's the guy who basically invented that style of politics. He was a Reagan advisor, and like Karl Rove basically worked under him and everything like that. And they began like just slamming politicians and just driving people just under nonstop. And it was really, really good.
That sounds really good.
And it's insanely good. It's on Netflix. If
what's it called again?
Boogeyman: The Lee Atwater Story. He ended up dying of spoiler alert. He died of.
Dan.
No, it's oh, come on.
I like my documentary spoiler free.
I'll stop then. It has a really crazy ending.
Do you know one that I didn't realize? I just looked up TV movies. I didn't realize was a TV movie to begin with. Was Duel, Steven Spielberg's film.
What?
With Dennis Weaver about the man that's being terrorized by the 18-wheeler.
Gia is a TV movie.
Well.
She is awesome. I love that.
You know what? Here's a little. I've been falling asleep inside the actor's studio sometimes, and I don't know why it relaxes me. But Angelina Jolie talked about Gia, but she also talked about George Wallace. Now I didn't know a lot about George Wallace's politics. I just knew he was a racist. And she played the part of his second wife, who's the one who, when he got shot, she covered his body with her whole body. And she's really, really good in that movie. It's completely different from anything she's ever done, because that was in the beginning before she was really thrown it out.
We're down to 10 seconds.
Okay. So anyways, George Wallace was interesting because you don't agree with someone's politics, but it was really cool to see a movie.
He was humanized.
He was humanized yet again.
Oh, HBO did that Elizabeth with the
And that is time. All right.
Next topic.
And Rob, you're going to pull our next topic, and we're going to reset the clock.
I want
All right, here we go.
And the winner is
animation.
Yay!
Next. No, I'm just kidding.
What?
Dan can talk about Princess Mononoke for next 7
Well,
minutes.
There's also a one called Fantastic Planet from the 80s. It gave you
Oh,
nightmares.
I didn't see
A Sundance Awards, I believe, something along those lines.
Yeah, like we need to do a few
Holy
hits of
crap.
acid and watch it. Apparently.
Yeah.
All right.
It
you know
is
what?
Okay
Just
with that.
crazy.
I've already done the acid. Let's do this.
You know what came out on June 11th on Blu-ray? Lilo and Stitch, and
I've never seen that.
I hope my boyfriend got them for me for my birthday. Lilo and Stitch, and what's the other one? Emperor's New Groove.
You know what? He would know that if he listened to the podcast.
He won't get this for another month.
Yeah, no, I think Rob and I are all over Pixar.
Yeah.
Finding Nemo is like
I
amazing.
know.
Oh my gosh, I watch that all the time.
I was gonna say Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Does that count as a cartoon animation? It's animation.
Yeah.
There's animation.
It's a breakthrough. It's a
those-
landmark of a
those-
film.
Those special effects were groundbreaking.
Do you know there's a set of movies, and I keep referencing Patrick, but that Patrick introduced me to Ralph Bakshi films. Ralph Bakshi did American Pop. He did Fritz the Cat.
Oh,
He
I've
did
seen
Cool
Fritz the Cat,
World.
yeah.
He
Fritz
did,
Cat's so boring.
But he did some fantastic animation, and what he did was he filmed the movie, and then he drew over them.
It's funny you said that
That's
because
rotoscope,
I was
isn't
gonna I was gonna bring up History of Music, which was that style where it was
Yes.
very realistic. Hobbit.
Linklater did it. A lot of people have done it.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh,
that's
for
how
No, it was-
Tron
remember when the
animated
goblins
too,
were
it was frame
attacking,
by frame. I saw that recently, that Tron was animated
original?
frame by frame. I was like,
Really?
all that work for such a shitty movie.
I do love.
The original Tron. Well, the sequels.
I do
shit,
love
too.
adult animated films.
No, I'm such a kid at heart that I
Same
will
here.
go out of my way to watch an animated movie.
I know.
And then
Never
if
will.
you see stuff like Pixar films, there's stuff in there like references that only adults are going to get. Kids just see. I don't want to put them down, but kids are mostly there for the characters and the animation.
I like that you're worried about putting kids down.
Well, I don't be like they just
Shoot
see
those kids.
they just see moving things and they're happy.
They're like cats and dogs.
No, I'm just saying.
Give them food, change their water.
No, the stories are becoming more sophisticated, and that's
Diaper.
because
Oh.
I'm not finished or anything. So parents can watch it.
Brenda's
And
back. She's feeling good. She's feeling better.
the Claritin kicked
It's
in.
cleared things up.
But for people like Rob and I don't have kids, but I mean I'll be in line for a Pixar
Do
film.
you
in
feel
a
weird
heartbeat.
if you were taking your kids to like see like a matinee like of just some new kids movie and there's Rob sitting in the back seat or in the back, but right behind you in the row by himself?
No, not at all.
I don't think so because I
I'm
think
pulling my kids out.
Animation now is to the point where I think a lot of adults go to animation for the appreciation of the art form, because there are some cool. When I saw Wall-E in the theater, it was almost all adults. When I saw
When I saw Wreck-It Ralph, it was the same.
There's
thing.
there's a certain type of animated film that, as an adult, I would go to. I
If
wouldn't
it's
go
Barbie, Cinderella Princess Part 9.
I won't show up to that
Then
one.
I will go.
Like Crudes, or what was that most recent one? Epic, or stuff like that. There's just the Guardian ones. What was that one called?
Oh, the
Rise
Owl,
of- Rise of the Guardian.
Are we counting Sex and the City 2 as animation? Because of
Their
the
faces,
CGI?
their faces were.
Their
No,
faces weren't animated. What are we
but like Wreck-It Ralph is a good example because they're referencing all these video games and stuff like that. Like that 5-year-olds aren't going to realize that. They're not going to appreciate it.
That's the kind of the cool thing about kids' movies, though, is some of the references you get. And like, do kids understand the beginning of Up?
I don't think so, but I think
Because I was just traumatized.
I think it's a really honest portrayal.
Well, why wouldn't they? It's said
of
with
life and death in a children's film, I think. And those are themes that they deal with in much less sophisticated ways in, video games. And when they're shooting up, Grand
prostitutes.
Theft Auto. I'd much rather my kid watch Up and ask me questions about death than play Grand Theft Auto and ask me. Not that I
Questions
have
about
children.
I mean, they
No,
watch.
the state took them.
There's so many animated
They were
films
taken
where
away and put with white families.
there's so many animated films where the peril is just like your point of you have your major characters that are just they know that they're in danger and so on, but Up did such a beautiful job of showing that this is life and this is how it happens sometimes.
And I think kids understand more than we give them credit
Yeah.
for.
Yeah, and as a female,
more than Curse would willing to give them credit.
as a female, like don't get me wrong, I grew up on Disney. I love things like Sleeping Beauty and Snow White and stuff like that. But like it's
Who's
always
the
about
gay man here?
it's always about getting the prince.
I'm trying to be more female
That
than
movie
me.
lied to me.
I'm sorry, I
Lied
know
to me.
I've got a buzz cut and a flannel shirt and everything.
Michelle Rodriguez.
Michelle Rodriguez is playing your part in the podcast, the movie.
Let's not go there just yet.
Oh Lord.
But
We'll have to get like a young, like Mamie Gummer for you.
Well, did you see Brave?
That's what's it called? Meryl Streep's daughter.
Made me Gummer.
Brenda, so what are you trying to say?
What I was trying to thank you, Dan. No, I appreciate that. Something like Up, where it's a little bit more sophisticated, the story.
Mm-hmm.
It has a lot of rewatch value. Somebody like a kid can watch that now and then like when they grow up,
Appreciate it in a
they
different
would
way.
like
later.
exactly.
How about, did you see Brave? Because you brought up women, like female characters. Because I thought that was supposed to be the first
Pixar,
animation
yeah.
with a strong female lead that isn't a romantic.
Yeah.
Did she
It's
not
not about a
have
pretty girl trying to find a boy.
I did want to just you brought up, actually she brought up how as a kid you watch one movie and when you're an adult you watch it again. What's an animated film that you guys have seen that you still really appreciate?
Sleeping Beauty?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love the shit out of Sleeping Beauty.
I love Sleeping Beauty.
But then, I saw maybe I don't know if it was an article or a meme or something, and it shows you all the ages of these Disney princesses, and they're all under 16.
Yeah.
And, like the ultimate goal of their stories is to end up with the prince.
I think I just loved Maleficent was such a badass, and as a
love
kid,
Maleficent.
I can't wait to see the Angelina.
She's a
Jolie
gay
movie.
hero.
But as a kid, I just knew I loved her. I didn't know why. I mean, that diva. She said, "I'm gonna cackle.
Right.
I'm
You-
gonna turn my
She
gun."
threw shade.
You gonna invite me to this party?
Yeah, you didn't invite me to this party. You didn't invite me to this party. I curse you.
Like,
And I'm out of here.
it's not a party without Maleficent.
Yeah, she said she just whipped up in there. She said, "I checked with the doorman, but I flew in here." Okay, so I didn't need to, but I do. It's funny how you watch that and you don't quite realize, like, Death Becomes Her. Like, you don't realize why you love it so much as a kid, but it's because I don't want to be Sleeping Beauty. Like, I'd rather be Maleficent. She's having a good old time. She wore dark clothes,
7 seconds.
No, I love Sleeping Beauty in general because I love a good nap.
You said, "Please let me sleep."
And
All
that
right,
is
next
time,
topic.
And Brenda is going to pull our fourth topic. And our topic is... You have to do this like Elizabeth Taylor at the Golden Globes. Slur it, girl, slur it.
It's blinking.
It's blinking envelope.
It's blinking penis.
Elizabeth.
Shorts.
Oh, I like shorts. It's summer weather, and...
I like a 9-inch short.
Chubbies.
No, I will say that like within the past few years, especially now that they're featuring them in movie theaters, I think most people ignore the short categories in the Oscars, but now that they're starting to feature them in theaters, I love shorts, and I see it's also it's a great start for some filmmakers. It's a great start for some filmmakers, and you actually can show a lot within just a lot of what you can do within just 10, 15 minutes. And you can have a great story within 10, 15 minutes.
I really loved watching the shorts from the Oscars this year. It was the
Oscar-nominated.
first time I'd ever seen all of the shorts animated in live action, and I really enjoyed the animation. Was really amazing what these actors what these directors are able to do in such a short period of time. Oh, I'm sorry. Speak into the mic.
My words are mixing. I'm incredibly ignorant about short films. I can't really think of any that I've seen. I saw there's one short documentary that I really liked about a lesbian couple. One was a state trooper, and she died, and all of her pension and benefits just went to the government.
Oh, instead.
Freeheld, I think it was called. It was a short documentary. Ellen Page was going to play it in a movie, was going to play the wife. I think they're still producing it, but that's the only thing I've seen that was short. I just remember it was like 45 minutes.
Shorts aren't very accessible, though. I think that's a big part of the issue.
That's where I'm going to disagree with you because...
Of course, Rob will be
now
taking the contrary opinion of Jordan.
Even before that, before I had my store, Magnolia, who releases all those shorts have made their rounds theatrically a lot more now. But back then, they were just in select markets. So what they did, they would also release a compilation DVD. So every year, dating back to 2000, actually, you have a DVD compilation of every shorts from those animated, it's not just the Academy Award shorts from that year, but also a compilation of everything else that they show. Mm-hmm. But I felt that they made them very accessible. Now what they're doing is, on top of being able to see them theatrically, you can just go to their site directly and watch all the shorts
and
there.
Netflix does have a lot
YouTube,
of shorts as well. I've seen a lot of short films on there.
For me, I as many as I can, I like to attend film festivals. I always go for if they have a shorts showcase, I always like to go to that because you get to see like so many different.
It's a range. It's a beautiful range
within like 2 hours.
At the Comic Palooza that I went to, they were doing a film festival. It was the Stephen King Dollar Baby film festival, and it's oh my God. Hi. I don't know how anything works anymore.
This isn't like our 10th episode or anything.
You put the lime in the coconut.
Oh, drink it all up. I was saying that they were having a short film festival at Comic Palooza. It was Stephen King's project. It's called Dollar Baby, and Shawshank Redemption actually started as a short film. It was done first as a short film, and then adapted into a full length. And so he, and as a short story writer, and his approach to art, this is a film festival that he sponsors, and I just thought that was very interesting. But you do kind of have to work a little bit to find those kinds of things. And I actually got to Comic Palooza after it was over, and I missed the shorts. I would have sat all day watching those.
I was just thinking of a short that I'd seen when you were saying that, because I'm racking my brain. I'm like, I've never seen a short film. There is a director, I cannot remember his name. He did The Ruins.
Bug. You're talking about Bug.
Bug Crush, yes.
Yeah.
There's a movie called Bug Crush that is probably one of the top 5-10 most unsettling movies I've ever seen. And not to give too much away, because I do think everyone would enjoy it. It's about a sexually ambiguous gay teen who becomes friends with the new guys in town, but they're kind of white trashy, and they're into something. He doesn't know what they're into, but he knows they're into something, and he kind of wants to find out. He's not out, but he's trying to be gay. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah,
their appeal is just like, you're that kid, you're like, who are they? They're kind of hot. I just want to hang out with them. Let's smoke cigarettes. But when you start finding out more of what
their deal is.
And what's it called? It's called Bug Crush?
I think it's Bug Crush.
Yeah.
I'll find out for you later. It's the director, Ben Stiller, saw that movie, that short, and said, I'm producing The Ruins. Will you direct The Ruins?
Oh, okay.
Which was a terrible adaptation of a great book. But
I like the movie.
Really? It's hard.
But I haven't read the book.
Is it the horror movie
where the plants talk? In
I
a
haven't
book,
seen it.
if a plant talks, that can be creepy. In a movie, when a plant talks,
it's stupid.
Little Shop of Horrors did it right, and they were the only ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Audrey too.
So yeah, that's the only one I've seen. But I think you can find it on YouTube.
It was just a red balloon.
What's that?
Have you ever seen The Red Balloon?
No.
It's like an iconic short film.
Yeah. It's about a red balloon.
It's about a
little
girl.
boy that chases a...
Oh, it's a little boy.
Is it a little boy?
I thought it was a little girl.
It's a sexually ambiguous French child who runs... Or is it German? I think it's German.
No,
actually,
didn't they make it into a
French?
full-length feature?
They might.
Because it's on Criterion, isn't it?
Yeah, Michael Bay directed it, and there's a lot of explosions.
Yeah. The balloon is like...
The balloon is filled with alien nukes.
It's going into buildings.
One thing, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this movie. It's called Cashback. It's a British film.
That's the one you were thinking about, Dan.
Why does
Yeah.
that sound
Cashback.
familiar?
The director, he made a short, and then I think 2 years later adapted it into a full-length feature, and he actually inserted the short into the film seamlessly.
Wow.
it's not a good movie, but Naomi Watts was in a movie called Ellie Parker before she got famous. It was a short.
I've heard of it.
And then they expanded it when she got famous. And it's about an actress trying to get a role. She was intense in that, too.
Oh, Dan was just letting me know that Sling Blade was based on a short film that was adapted into a feature film.
It's a fantastic movie.
Yep.
That's really interesting.
It is interesting. I feel
so-
interested by this.
Am I
Yes.
interesting because I'm interested?
I'm interested to know the answer.
It was actually written by Billy Bob Thornton, and that's
Yeah,
what kind of...
was it a play originally? Like, I feel like he originally did it as a play.
No, I don't know if it was a play or not, but I do know that we have 10 seconds left.
10
I can't think of any other short. I can't think of short.
I would just recommend just looking up. As
I
many
made
short-
Fast
I made-
5 into
I'm
a
going to
short.
start doing that, Brenda, because I think I'd like some of
I
these.
made a short in high school.
And that is time, and I am going to pull topic number 5 from the hat. Oh my God, it's my favorite topic ever. And this is
Who suggested this?
This was Justin suggested this on our Facebook page. Tim Burton versus Johnny Depp. Who's killing who?
For me, I think it's Tim Burton.
John Depp is not in his next movie. That kind of freaks me out. It's Christoph Waltz and Amy Adams and Kristen Ritter.
Maybe it's because after Dark Shadows, they were like, I need some space.
But you know what? Dark Shadows is really related to Alice in Wonderland. I don't think they're any different. They're all that candy-colored nostalgia.
Or I guess after both of them back to back, they're like, I need some space.
I can't.
I think of it more of like a bromance on a break than anything. I don't think they're gonna.
But if you look at their body of work separately, even though they're together, you see someone like Johnny Depp, who I feel still tries to challenge himself, even though I was really disappointed in Public Enemies because that was his.
I adored Public Enemies.
I didn't like it.
I was disappointed because it was his first role outside these big characters, so I wanted to see what he could do again as just a regular actor. And it just wasn't as impressive as I thought it was
The
going to be.
trailer for Lone Ranger, I feel like I'm watching Jack Sparrow
It looks terrible.
play the Lone Ranger, to play Kemosabe.
I like Gore Verbinski.
Verbinski.
Verbinski. Rango is one of my favorite films. Mouse
He
Hunt.
did The Ring.
Oh.
I like the first Ring.
The Ring is good.
Yeah.
Naomi Watts being intense.
We were just talking about how she's intense and everything, including I Heart Huckabees.
She should be the
She's
celebrity
even intense.
spokesperson for Academy because she's intense.
Or for like an anti-anxiety medication.
Chantix.
But
No,
Tim Burton, Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp he's
He's still making movies people go see.
Not
Well,
really.
let me ask you this:
Is he?
Not Dark Shadows, not Rum Diary, not Public Enemies, not.
Let me ask you guys this. We've talked about this on a previous podcast,
Yeah.
directors who can't get it up. Do you feel that way about Tim Burton, or do you feel like he's just had a
I was
a
going to say
rough
something
patch?
so rude about Helena Bonham Carter, but I'm not going to. I'm going to say Tim Burton.
I think he can still get it up.
His palette is the exact same.
He just needs to
What
pop
was
a
his
Viagra.
Abe
and then
Lincoln
he'll-
Vampire? Wasn't that Tim Burton?
No.
No, thank
He produced
God.
that.
He produced it. I knew he was involved in it. Some
Monkey Bone.
Tim Burton's best is why he probably lost it.
What was his last good? Was
He
Big
probably-
Fish was his last good one?
Which one?
No, Sweeney Todd.
Oh, Sweeney Todd, yeah.
Sweeney
Todd
Todd,
was
Ed
good.
Wood, Beetlejuice, Batman Returns. I mean, my
Edward
God,
Scissorhands.
Edward Scissorhands. Did I say Beetlejuice? I'll say
Yeah.
it again. We're
He
bears
blew his-
repeating.
Mars
he blew his wad
Attacks.
in it. Mars Attacks is awesome.
I love Mars
It's such a
Attacks.
good
I
movie.
do love Mars Attacks.
It is a good movie.
Pee-wee's
Even
Big
even
Top.
sober, I love Mars
That's
Attacks.
an amazing film.
He directed the sequel. He didn't direct the sequel.
I don't know if he just directed the sequel or just did the first one.
I think he only did the first one.
But so maybe
Big Top
Johnny
Pee
Depp
Wee.
is killing Tim. Maybe he's like, let's do this.
Pee Wee's
fun
Big
movie.
Top. He did. I think Pee Wee's Big Top. I don't know about this. He did one of the Pee Wee films.
But
then-
let's.
No, he only did
what
Pee
was
Wee's
his
Big
first-
Adventure. He only did the
Talking
first.
I was going to say, if we talk all at once, I'm pretty sure everybody could understand what we're
Can
saying.
we just name? I think Johnny Depp might be a little overrated. Can we just pick 5 great performances of Johnny Depp? If we can do 5, I'll say he's one of the greats.
Okay, Edward Scissorhands.
Okay.
Ed Wood.
Yes.
Ed Wood, love.
I'll even do the Jack
Oh,
Sparrow.
Jack Sparrow's a
Fear and
cool
Loathing in Las
character.
Vegas.
Yeah, Fear and
I'll give
Loathing.
him
That's right. I'm looking him up.
There's just.
I can't.
And not to have dead air here, but like, what are the 4? I mean, so Ed Wood, Fear and Loathing. Edward Scissorhands, and I'll count Jack Sparrow because I do think that's a great performance.
Yeah, I mean they stretched that out a little too long, but in the first
Benny
one,
and June lately. That's a cute movie. That's a really good
Finding Neverland. Oh, I love that movie.
That's pretty. That's like eating a bottle of sugar. What does this smell like?
sugar comes in a bottle.
So
Before Night Falls, he's a tranny.
he is so funny in that. Remember, we decided that's a pejorative.
Training.
I asked Justin, who's
We're
funny,
so
Justin.
sensitive for minority groups on this podcast.
Because Justin, this is your idea. Justin, I asked him, actually, he had a conference about transsexuals and like sensitivity and everything, and I asked him, I was like, is it a pejorative? And I think he was like, why do you keep using the word pejorative?
Because it's a word that refers to when you say bad things about people. Use
But yes,
words that they
trannies
don't.
is a pejorative. So anyways, so Johnny, but how many of those movies were they together? Just Beetlejuice. Out of the movies we listed, Beetlejuice and Ed Wood are the only ones where they were
You mean
together.
Edward Scissorhands.
He wasn't
It
in
wasn't in
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice. That's
Edward
Michael Keaton.
Edward Scissorhands and Edward are the only ones where they were together. So maybe they need to take some time apart.
Well, didn't
I
they
do
do-
think Sweeney Todd's one of his best as well.
Well, he
Oh,
was
that's
in
also
Yeah.
Edward.
the vampire one that just came out. The
Dark
Dark
Shadows. That
Shadows,
was
they
that
did
was
together.
horrible.
We weren't talking about
It was
that.
not
We-
so good.
yeah.
You know, Alice in Wonderland is like the 8th biggest grossing film of all time, and I have no idea why.
It's terrible.
But I was interested to see. I was looking up something on something unrelated, and it was on the list.
But if you were a little girl, you know, in that age range, or a gay boy trying to figure it out, but it has a lot of great female characters. Alice is a great female character.
But that story's been done so much better in other forms.
But not with that generation.
That TV movie of with Ann Gillian and
There's one
Carol
with Zooey
Channing.
Deschanel.
Oh, my bull.
But Johnny's, so he's going to do Lone Ranger, and then hopefully he'll pull it together. And then Tim Burton's next movie's not with him, so it's
What
optimistic.
is Tim Burton's next film?
It's a movie about Margaret Keel, I believe her name is. She painted the portraits with the big eyes. It's Amy Adams and Christoph Waltz, and they're the married couple, and they literally... at some point, Christoph Waltz, or the character he plays, said that he painted it and his wife didn't, and so they had to have a paint-off in court
What?
to prove who painted
That
the
seems
real
like
pictures.
That seems like interesting.
That seems like
fodder
Ed
for-
Wood material. Like,
Yeah.
You know, but with both of them, more often than not, like if Tim Burton comes out with another film, you're gonna go see it. And if Johnny Depp
I
was,
don't.
But we had that conversation during directors. He's become I think we were on the same page. He's become a director that we question if we were going to want to go see his next film.
after Alice in Wonderland and Dark Shadows.
I didn't see
especially.
Dark Shadows or Frankenweenie.
Since Alice in Wonderland, I want to see Frankenweenie. Since Alice in Wonderland, I've not seen one of his movies in a theater.
But those are the only two. Since Alice in Wonderland.
Oh. Yeah, because it ruined it.
What are we at?
I was going to say, can we stretch this for another 24 seconds? Because
We can talk about make.
So, what's the final verdict? Did Johnny Depp
Oh,
kill
yeah.
Tim Burton or Tim Burton kill Johnny Depp? I think Tim Burton killed Johnny
Johnny
Depp.
Depp killed Tim Burton.
I think they both
10
wounded
seconds.
each other.
They're slowly bleeding to death.
Like Romeo and Juliet.
yeah, Johnny Depp's slowly bleeding to death with all that
Or
Disney
like
money. Yeah,
or
sure.
Like America in the middle class.
All that secret window money.
All right, here we go.
And that is time, and Curtis is going to pull our sixth and final
What?
topic.
I got the final
Let's do this. What is it?
censorship.
Oh.
What?
How appropriate.
we need some on this podcast.
No, I love this one. There's so many films, I think. There's a really great documentary to tie it all together called This Film Is Not Yet Rated, which I really
Yes.
think shows how the MPAA does censor in a way that they're...
Hypocrites?
they literally watch your movie and they say, here's your rating, and here's what you should probably change. And it's not always that blunt, but sometimes it literally is like...
No, but they only do that for the major releases. They won't even give a smaller film that kind of
chance.
feedback.
They won't?
No.
No.
For the larger films, they'll say, if you're releasing Spider-Man, to get you to a PG-13 rating, we would suggest these things.
That is
but
censorship.
But if you're doing...
We know Jamie Babbitt is
But
in
if you're
that
doing-
documentary, and
hang
she
on.
talks about...
If you're doing, like, Boys Don't Cry, they won't give you any feedback. I'm trying not to talk over each other, and that's what we're doing.
I think we're really just listening
So-
to Rob talk.
So
No,
what
just
it
kidding. Which is lovely.
Yeah, so they were basically saying,
I
no,
love
and
you,
it's,
Rob.
it's true, and nowadays the stuff you can get away with, the line is pushed a little further. But I don't know, we're about to see 2 sexually explicit French films come out of Cannes, Blue is the Warmest Color, and there's a gay one that I cannot remember.
I remember, while you're thinking,
Oh, yeah.
I remember a point they made in that film is that violence is so much more accepted than sex or nudity.
Or it's mostly female sex,
Yeah.
female pleasure. I was I was watching Mad Men the other day, and there's an episode where one of the characters is masturbating, and I kept waiting for the show to turn off Sylvia. is masturbating, and I thought, oh, they're gonna cut away. They didn't cut away, and I just like, oh my god, she's put her hands in her pants. She's naked. I'm just like, this would never happen in a movie.
What episode and what season is that?
It's Linda Cardellini plays this Italian neighbor downstairs that he's having an affair with.
I don't recall asking that question.
She looks amazing in that, and
Yeah.
Don's like sexually possessing her, and he's like, don't answer the phone once more. And then when the phone rings about 5 seconds later, she knows it's him, and she goes, oh, and her hands go, freaked me out. So yeah, sexuality is definitely
Female sexuality, especially.
yes.
So would censorship, would George Lucas's thing that he did with E.T. and Star Wars count as censorship? I mean, he did.
No.
He removed the guns and changed them to flashlights. He made Han Solo shoot second. I mean,
Well,
for all
and
reasons.
Steven Spielberg did it with E.T. too, but I don't know. You've censored.
No, I did say, yeah, sorry about that. I meant
Well, no, I
Steven
mean
Spielberg.
you've censored yourself, so I don't know. Can you go back and change your own movie? I think you can. It's yours.
It's your film.
Yeah, I guess more self-imposed censorship.
But who owns
not-
it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it Jamie Babbitt that did But I'm a Cheerleader?
and The Quiet. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was Kimberly Pierce that did Boys Don't Cry.
Yeah. Jamie Babbitt says in the Kirby Dick documentary, this film is not yet rated, she talks about the fact that her film got an NC-17 rating when she made that film for gay teenagers to go see, gay teenagers in the Midwest to go and see that movie and get the message. And she felt a real conflict between she needed to cut her film so that it could be accessible versus keeping her artistic vision together and the people she wanted to see the film not see the film. That to me is censorship. That is the market industry censoring a director.
Well, now you can release your film unrated. You know, more people probably nowadays would have seen But I'm a Cheerleader if it was on iTunes or streaming or on
But
demand.
that's where I'm often the voice that says that's what limits your film, though. You release a movie unrated or NC-17, often you can't run ads for it, often you can't do commercials, TV spots, so on.
I don't think anymore, because you think of a film, and this movie was not NC-17, but you think of a film like Bachelorette. There was a Red Band trailer on YouTube, which you can easily access. You don't have to pay for that. It's free, I mean, as we know. I never saw an ad in the newspaper. All I saw was reviews, blogs, Facebook. We even went to the screening, and they told us to tweet and Facebook about it because that's how they judge if your movie should be released now. I just saw it on DVD the other day, and I was like, what?
No,
Media has really changed in
it
the
has
last
changed.
couple of years.
Well,
But
when
that movie was the highest grossing movie for iTunes ever.
But
As of now.
It's the bigger picture when you look at from a studio point of view. How are you reaching those smaller states when you have these publications that won't allow you to run an ad for a film? Shame had that biggest problem where the film was released in NC-17. Fox Searchlight was like, we're going to go with it. And it limited on how and where they can promote that film.
Yeah,
So-
but I don't think. Oh, hi. You know what, Jordan? When the Jamie Babbitt thing. Oh my God, that was when I was in high school, so 11 years ago. But 12 years ago. But that's different than the market now. You have to admit that you don't need to be in a theater anymore to make any money, realistically.
No, you're right. The social media and the
You don't
release.
yeah.
When only 15 years ago, directors are really
You had
beholden
to
to
be.
the studio system. And
No, that's a completely fair point. But I'm a Cheerleader, Boys Don't Cry, films that relied on theatrical releasing. Now they could have easily bypassed that
Oh my
altogether.
God, how many gay people would see Boys Don't Cry on iTunes or on demand and go, I'm going to buy that. You know, I'm going to rent that. I mean, how many times have we done that with films that are on streaming but we never would have watched? So censorship is weird now because, in a way, look at House of Cards. I mean, that's on Netflix. Anybody can watch it. You know, my kids could watch it on my Netflix. And it's explicit. It has sex in it. It has violence. I don't think any like blood or anything. But we're, you know, the lines are stretched. Even the line from primetime TV to Game of Thrones. I mean, you don't have to censor anything anymore. So I sort of feel bad for the network shows like 2.5 Men or that really have to.
but even those are pushing the boundaries. I mean, they're saying things. They're saying asshole and saying
Yes.
shit when
They're allowed like one shit or something.
yeah, it's the rules are becoming so lax.
When it's on 30 Rock where Jack goes, I got the notes back from censorship. You can say cat anus 3 times. Cat anus, cat anus, cat anus. He goes, but I'm going to fight for one more. Cat anus. And I think it's true.
In my opinion, I think no matter what system you're working within, it's the hypocrisy of how that ends up working out. Because you have something like HBO that pushes the boundaries. You have something like network TV Scandal that pushes the boundaries. But then you have something else that's trying. They're like, no, you can't do that. But they're doing that. It's like, well, they're different, and they whatever excuse they make, it's just...
It depends on where you are.
Which
You can't do two broke girls like you do girls.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
That's
But
true.
two broke
10
girls
seconds?
is smart, and it finds a way to be sexy and funny and smart without showing tits.
But I think that's why that movie was such a good, because even like the politics, you'd have to check now to see how different it is.
And time. And that is our 6th topic. That was awesome. So
That was pretty amazing.
that was pretty cool. We were so worried that we would have dead air, and
feel like you're in a
we could talk about anything.
American Gladiators.
And we had some really good topics that we did not get to pull out of the hat. So we will definitely. I think we should do another.
But this time,
another one.
Throw it out to the audience again and see if we get more response.
Definitely, because we had some really great suggestions. We didn't even get to a lot of them, and all of these topics that we used today came from our listeners. So that was
Where can they submit their topics, Jordan?
on our GeoCities page. Do an Alta
Our
Vista
Yelp.
search. Do an Alta Vista search for
Where
I'm sorry,
movies
we-
a podcast at AOL.
AOL at CompuServe.net. Earthlink. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We are on YouTube. We are on the Twitter. Are we on the Twitter?
Not yet.
No,
We
no.
keep
It-
saying
it's
we're going to be.
it's saved, but
It's coming.
You guys see us on Facebook.
It's coming, but it's Movies the Podcast, all one word. Like our Facebook page, please, and suggest to your friends. And join us next time.
Just tell your friends, listen to these queens. They seem to have a lot of fun.
3 Mo's and a Bro and Brenda.
wow.
I have never felt more special.
Yeah, we all. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, this has been Movies the Podcast. This is Jordan.
Oh, this is Curtis.
Rob.
Oh. Well, I was listed last, so I thought I would talk last. Brenda.
Oh. And our producer extraordinaire, Dan.
AKA the bro.
This is
The
Dan.
Bro.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thanks,
joining us.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Woo.